Hey, you there. Thank you for watching and welcome to Forged Lines Forever. Today, I have a 6v6 custom match here on the most amazing Neuroxis map generator. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting off with Team 1 up here to the north and ending with Team 2 down here in the south. Starting up with the easternmost player of Team 1, it is Ivan 21 Farmer. Ivan for short. He was going first land as a Cybrid in Rust, and he's also a 1200 to his west. In Pac-Man Yellow, we have the Cybrid player of Mortagua. I think that's how you say that. Going again first land as a Cybrid. He is an 1100 to his west. In Batman, wait, is that Batman Gray? Yeah, it looks like Batman Gray. He is the player of Hell, the Mask, I think it's Damascus, going first land, and he is a 1400, the third Cybrid here for Team 1. I'm going to slow it down just in case there's some really early plays. To the west, we have the fourth Cybrid player of Team 1, Lord Tomato. Almost said potato there for a second. Going first land, he is in Sevi Crimson as a Cybrid, and he is a 1000 rated player. To his northwest, the fifth Cybrid player on Team 1, we have Kefka going first land in forest green, very sensible color, and he is also a 1400. Last but not least, for Team 1, the only different factioned player on Team 1, it is Blazer of Flasher going first land, second air as a UEF, and he is a 1200. So for Team 1, they have 5 Cybrids and 1 UEF. That's it. No Aeon, no Seraphim. Let's go ahead and introduce Team 2, starting off with the southwesternmost player here for Team 2. It is Ringo with 2 eyes going first land as a UEF in orange, the color orange, and he is a 1200. To his east, we have the player of Squealer going first land, another UEF player for Team 2 in lightish red, pink, and he is an 1100. The third UEF player for Team 2 with T1 Hero going first land in snow white, and he is a 1200 as well. As well. To his southeast, we have in emerald green Mr. Shu going first land as the first Cybrid for Team 2, and he is a 2100. Again, he's going first land in emerald green. And in glow in the dark green here, making sure that's glow in the dark green, we have the player of Strix Inquisitor, probably Inquisitor for short, going first land as a UEF as well, and he is an 800. And last but not least, for Team 2, also on the move, we have the player of Trigram Way, making another appearance here on the channel. He is going first land, second land, third air, maybe that's second air, third land, and then land all day. He is in Stitch Blue. He is an 1100 and is the only Seraphim in the game. So for Team 2 side of things, we do have the comm of T1 Hero on an upgrade for left drone. We have, in terms of racial makeup, 4 UEF, a Cybrid, and a Seraphim. No Aeon technology for either team. Apologies for those loyal to the princess. Let's go ahead. Is it princess or queen? I think it's princess. Let's go ahead and check out Reclaim here pretty soon. Before our players scoop it all up, we have currently on the map 3,800. Not a lot of Reclaim. Probably about 4.5, maybe, at max, in terms of it only being 3 minutes. So not a lot of Reclaim for our players. And pretty much the only group of contested mechs here on this map is this really interesting C formation, or backward C on this western side, C on the eastern side. Set of mechs. It's really going to be a hotbed of contention. We have narrow necks of land here on the northeast and southwest sections of this middle area. We have a nice little, pond area with a lower depression of a couple of, points of land. But really, I don't really feel like that's going to be used all that often. Maybe we'll see a T2 facility with cruisers maybe, but that's about it. We do see some water surrounding these islands here to the southwest and northeast, but really there's not a lot of water. We have some of the corners, or players are probably going to hide a couple of comms there, but I don't expect really to be any realistic naval fights this game. We do have to the east the player of Trigon pushing against some engineers from the player of Hell, Damaski, Damasic, I think it's Damasic, and fighting against Ivan as well. Ivan does get a first couple of shots into Dragram, but of course Dragram has the better set of hit points with having an additional 1,500. And it does look like Team 1's player of Kefka is pushing forward, trying to knock out Team 2 out of this western position. It's a 3v1 scenario. The player of Ringo really is undermanned here. He needs some reinforcements, and he needs it now. The player of Team 1 Hero is on his way to assist, but that might be a little too late here on that western side. Team 1 is experiencing a similar thing in the form of Ivan, but Ivan is holding strong for now. The player of Inquisitor is starting to push forward with some land facilities to help kind of claim this area and secure it a lot better than just sending a couple of units and a comm. We are going to see probably an emphasis on air here in this game with 6 players. We do have a decent range of rankings from 800 all the way to 2100. Both the highest and the lowest are on the same team. The lowest is on the front lines here of Inquisitor, and the highest is in his main base, building up probably air. Yep, he's building an air facility now. Wouldn't be surprised to see him go T3 air here pretty quickly. But again, the comms for Team 1's player of Kefka, Blazer O'Flasher, and Lord Tomato have now secured this western side for Team 1. That is a huge amount of mass that Team 1 now owns and is not being contested. We do see some comms in the water for Team 2, where they're going to be fighting an uphill battle, literally and figuratively, because they have to actually walk uphill to get out of the water and onto land. Ivan is still holding strong, though, is starting to lose territory slowly but surely, but Team 1 is holding a lot better off on this eastern side than Team 2 did on the western side, so Team 1 will get that advantage. For now, we do see a couple of upgrades in the water gun, damage and range for 2 commanders. This one has been paused. This one is ongoing. There is an engineer to help assist in that upgrade. But we do see a comm of Blazer O'Fasher actually just walking down Ringo. I don't know if he'll just chase him all the way down, but we'll see. We do see a movement order here from Team 1. These are strikers, so they're not amphibious, so they'll just be able to just sit on the edge of the water here on the beachfront property. Kind of interested to see what their movements do when they hit that water, because they should kind of just hit it and go, I can't go any further. So yep, there they go. They've been turned around, it looks like. They're trying to go around, but that's really not going to work out. It is an island. And the comms of Ringo and Blazer O'Flasher are trading blows here. Ringo probably should just go back in the water and hide, would be his best bet just to survive. Blazer will survive this. He's ahead by more than 2,500 hit points, so if Ringo were to die, Blazer O'Flasher would be fine. But Team 1 Hero is coming onto land. Blazer O'Flasher actually now needs to get into the water, but pings go down to go after some, or at least notify Blazer of those PD. He's going after T2 Mechs, and now he's going after some engineers. Blazer is suffering more hit points now. That gap between the two players starting to crumble here for him. Team 1 really needs to think about whether or not this is a smart play. Oh, these Blazer Flasher needs to think if this is a smart play. 2 comms, one with a gun upgrade now. And Blazer Flasher needs to get into that water now, unless he just wants to suicide and have this match for him be over. That that Mechs does die off, but Blazer is into the red. Team 1 Hero trying to body block him, does a great job. And he's sub 2,000 hit points, still trying to keep his head above water. Sub 1,000 hit points. Will this be the first kill of the game? No, it is not. He gets out of there with 400 hit points left. Very ballsy play. Very highly aggressive play, more than he probably need to be. Now a torpedo launcher will be built to try to fend that commander off, and Blazer will get out of there. But essentially he will be chased down. Not the best position to be in here for him. If he gets a T2 transport out, he can airlift his comm out of there. But a nice army here to the west and the east is starting to form for both teams. Team 2 is starting to kind of get Ivan in a bad position here, but Trigram is in the red, sub 1,500 hit points. Ivan sub 3,000 now. Doesn't keep walking. He is starting to be surrounded. The comm of Mortugua, I think that's how you say that, is going to help him on this front line and will definitely assist in punching these forces back against Team 2, and then will give some breathing room for Team 1. They haven't really secured the beachhead property for them, but the comm of Blazer Flasher Control K's. I don't know if that was... I mean, it wasn't due to... There is a torpedo launcher nearby, so maybe he died to that. But it would have given the kill. Maybe he just thought his life was over. Idiot, says Ringo. Yeah, I don't really understand the whole walking onto Ringo's position and then walking off. I didn't really get that, so... Not really the best play, and that is the first fatality for Team 1. It is now a 6v5 in favor of Team 2, but all that does is give Team 1's player of Demaski... I can never say that. I will never say that name. I'll probably call him a Demas for short. Demas, the base of Blazer Flasher, and now the comm of Team 1 hero is on the land, has a Riptide in the area, but is severely outnumbered. And now they're going to go after the comm. More Riptides appearing here for the player of Ringo to assist. But a large army for Team 1's player of Lord Tomato isn't really going to get anywhere with that comm nearby. And building PD, of course, but it's essentially just a stalemate to the west. To the east, very similar things are happening here for both teams, except Team 1 is holding still more of that beachfront property. They still have a couple more mass points. Actually, with the inclusion of the western side, they have a heck of a lot more mass points in terms of capture. But in terms of mass per second, Team 1 just barely in that lead. Team 2 is heavily focusing on upgrading their mexes. So when you lack the map control, you need to get your eco up and running, which means you need to upgrade, and that's just what Team 2 is doing. And a nice PD line is starting to form here for the play of Squealer. Of course, he is a UEF. They are known for turtling. And those T1 units of Mantis really suffering in this position. We have a facility online here for Lord Tomato. Will help shield his units. We can see the range of those PD. They should almost be able to hit those units inside. But because of that stealth field generator, the radar signature cannot detect them. He needs Omni to be able to see them through that field. We have seen Ivan retreat into the water. Very sensible move here for his commander. He is in the yellow. He's going to rep up some hit points, but his base is suffering. Only one T2 PD. The second one online. Of course, even against T1 units, T2 PD for the Cerberus, for the Cyberns, but the Cerberus is the name. It struggles heavily. You can just see this position overrun. Even units coming in for Trigon coming to assist. This position is now gone for Team 1. So very similar things for Team 2 have happened with Team 1. And so now the mechs is starting to be balanced here in this game in terms of distribution. We are seeing stealth going on for Ivan, wanting to hide from radar. And then probably we'll go for Nano after that. That's, again, usually the not the path, but the usual build order for that upgrade is for Cyberns is usually go for Nano after that, and then maybe go Cloaking, or you just get rid of it and build Teleporter. That's usually the two plays that I see for Cybern Commanders. T2 on the way here for Mortagua. Going to probably build a firebase here on this eastern side for his team to protect his assets and base. And again, we're seeing a large buildup of units here for both teams along the since the middle line across the map, the diagonal here. And it's really gonna determine what really determines who's gonna push forward is either technology or just sheer amount of units. And I feel like neither team really wants to push. If Team 2 were to push, Team 1 would get the mass. They have the numbers. If Team 1 were to push, Team 2 would get the mass because of the defenses. It's not worth attacking at the current moment. It's more essentially wait. It's like playing chicken. It's like waiting for your opponent to make the first move, and then usually that player will lose unless they have an experimental or just an ungodly amount of T3 units, whether that be, Percy or Bricks or Authams, because we don't have any Harbingers this game. And stealth has been finished, and now Nano on the way here for Ivan. Tactical missile for T1 Hero. We'll probably launch some missiles from the water and then maybe even go for Billy Nuke. There is a potential for 4 Billy Nukes on Team 2. The only UEF commander, the only different commander for Team 1 has died, that being Blazer of Flasher. Essentially now it's just a Cybern game with, some UEF tech versus kind of a more UEF with some Cybern and Seraphim sprinkled in there a little bit. But in terms of action on the front lines, we are seeing some movement in both directions here, but it's very kind of held off, very standoffish. We don't see any sort of aggressive plays. They do know of where everything is, but Squealer unfortunately knows that that structure is there, but just can't see anything. You can see after the spy plane flies over, it loses signature for some of those units because they're in that shield, that stealth field area. We have seen T3 air is online for the player of Mr. Shu. Mr. Shu doing the Control K reclaim and then build strategy for upgrading T3 mechs versus just doing the standard upgrade. Just upgrading it without having to destroy it. And I think it's, I remember the math at some point. I think it's if you can destroy, reclaim, and build within 2 minutes, it's faster and more efficient. It's more efficient than just doing the regular upgrade from start to finish, from what I understand. I think that's the case. But if you can't build it under that time frame, then it's better to just do the normal upgrade. I have to look into that again. And I know most likely somebody will comment about that in chat. We do have a lot of missiles coming down from these Vipers. Of course, they're just Buzzkills really can't do a whole lot due to the fact that the missiles split after a distance. You can see them once they're shot, they do split. So or some of them split. You can see that it makes it very difficult for these TMD to really hold off. If they had volcanoes, it'd be a completely different story. But a small group of units, actually a decent sized group of units, are now pushing against this eastern side. They're running into some PD, but of course they're going for the Vipers would be my guess. Strikers versus Rhinos and Hoplites, not really the fight I would want to engage with, especially with a lack of technology, and they're running into PD. Even though it's Cerberus, it's still PD. You don't want to just take free damage. That's not what you want to do, especially with units weak as this. But we have T2 Riptides from the player of Hell, inheriting that from his partner of Blaze. And they're going to start traversing the map here. You can even see the tracking on the UEF commander going after the Riptides, but he can't fire his gun underwater. I don't know if they explain why the gun can't fire underwater. I think it's just like a mechanic, not necessarily like a lore reason. You can see, look at his torso just like turning in the direction of those units. But it's about to launch a missile here pretty soon. The Riptides aren't really doing a whole lot of work, and because of the fact that the Riptides have hover, the torpedo launchers can't target them because the unit needs to be in the water. But you can see this base for Squeal, really suffering here. They're going after the shield. The shield is down. Squealer now going to be just kind of in the midst of a bunch of TMD. They're trying to do the best they can, but it's just not enough. It needs like triple the shielding and triple the TMD to really hold those missiles at bay. But this will severely encourage Team 1's player of Lord Tomato to push forward after he's dealt with a lot of these defenses. And actually just, encourage Hell to just push forward to the east. Because once the PD are down, the TMD can't do anything against ground units. So, not the best situation. There are a couple of pillars in the mist here for Team 2. But really the issue is once those triads, I was going to say tridents, but triads are down, it's essentially it here for Team 2's play of Squealer's forward operating base. We do see a nice group of T2 units from the player of Team 1 Hero kind of waiting to engage. I don't know if he's probably waiting to engage them after the units from Team 1 pushes forward, but with all these missiles, I don't know if it really is going to matter. There goes the shield here with the next volley. There it goes, and now they're impacting the second shield and going after the TMD directly. That has got to hurt. You're just trying to build defenses, but it's just not working. We have T3 units on the way here from the player of Hell as well on the eastern side, and these bricks are pushing forward, going after T1 Mechs. And the column of Ivan is actually back onto land. I don't know what he's planning on doing, but he has stealth and nano and gun. So he won't be spotted unless he is, actually seen by vision. And unless there's Omni nearby, which there isn't as of yet. We do see T2 in the middle here for the player of Inquisitor, which he's still alive, and he is on the front line, and he's holding his position quite well. So good on him. But a T2 Cyber Naval Facility producing the Salems. Ooh, that is very deadly. T2 destroyers that can sprout legs and a walk on land, excuse me. Not really the best scenario for Team 2 to deal with. Squealer is going to send his T2 forces in, combined with T1, of course, for target saturation purposes. The Cerberus are not enough. Those missiles launchers, those Vipers will fall back. The Rhinos are posted up to help assist in defense, and all those units are gone. Now the missiles will come back and deal with that shield. Once again, that was really just buying time. Squealer should just abandon his post and fall back. It's really not going to do a whole lot by trying to keep that position online. Those missiles are just going to overwhelm him one way or another. And of course, Ivan assisting these bricks in reclaiming his beach position. He's building more facilities, more PD online to secure it. Team 2, if they want that position, they need to secure that, not naval, but that beachhead. And now we have a push in from Inquisitor, but this is a nice forward operating base with a decent amount of PD, shields, and artillery. And the Mantis come in to assist defense as well, and these units are just being chopped up. And now, of course, Salems are appearing here on the eastern pond. I think I'm going to call it a pond. I'm going to help just bombard this base. Inquisitor, probably his best bet is to either build, even more artillery, or leave and build artillery further back. But unfortunately, the shields have fallen around the artillery. The first one is down. The second one will fall soon after that. And just look at the oppressive firepower. Squealer has retreated from this base. We do see some... Oh, I thought those were ASFs, but those are only interceptors. Never mind. I was like, wow, it's a good group of interceptors at 20 minutes. And speaking of 20 minutes, let's check a look at ecos. Now we have Team 2 in the lead at let's say just not 900 mass a second versus 800 mass a second. So Team 1 suffering from the fact that they haven't really upgraded a lot of their mechs as Team 2 has. And so they're, again, consolidating the forces, consolidating the losses, and so they can produce more mass per second than their opponents for now. The keyword is always for now. Those units in from the player of Mortagua. And again, some of the names in this game, like, I can pronounce them right the first time, and then I lose all sense of the word after that. Kind of like Benedict Cumberbatch saying penguin. If you haven't seen that video, it is a very funny video. I highly recommend it. I love penguins, so it's just funny to just watch somebody just put... I don't know what it is, but watching someone butcher the penguin, like the name, is very funny. Anyway, those forces are going to start pushing southward. This forward operating base here for Trigem is under threat. He does have a couple of PD in place, but needs a lot more defenses online. Even has artillery coming online as well. The Zuthams? The Zathuthams. Zathuthams. I think that's how you say that word. And now the engagement to the west has occurred between T2 forces. And again, there's a lot of pillars in the mix, a lot of DPS, and a lot of health for these pillars. These units here from Team 1 for Lord Tomato will have to retreat in the face of that. It's just essentially health pool. It does look like Team 1 does have the advantage. We also have Kefka has built a perimeter monitoring station. A nice section of the map is under his vision, so he can see a lot coming down the pipeline here. And Team 1 really doesn't have a whole lot to fear, especially with the combination of forces from hell to the west. And there's a lot of Riptides just hanging out over here. I don't know why he's not using them. And there's Riptides down here to the south. That's probably what he's waiting for. But there are some artillery starting to be built up in the form of T3 demolishers. Starting to just hang on here. A couple of them have taken some fire, and they're just lining up to be built for defense. This will shoo a lot of those units away, even though the demolishers don't have the best range, of course, as T3 artillery. They are mobile, and they do pack a punch, and it does hurt when they hit units. So, gotta keep your units moving on Team 1 side of things. We even see some artillery on the other side of the little pond here, going after Mexes. That's actually a good use of artillery. Just picking off Mexes and trying to just damage Team 1's eco. Very good play by Ringo to the west. We even have some Titans going after Team 1 units. The T3 version of Cerberus would be my comment about Titans, except they have shields, and they actually do better against T1 units. So They're like the upgraded version of Cerberus, would be my comment about the Titans, or summation about the Titans. But of course, we have those destroyers on water, and one of them has been named to Nessie in reference to the Loch Ness Monster, and artillery named Void. We have Damasik or Hell. I keep flipping between the two names. I think I'll stick with Hell just because that's his first part of his name. And he's going after this position. A couple of the PD and the defenses have fallen. There is one artillery online. A second one will take a while to come online as well. But against two destroyers, it's not really going to go Team 2's play of Trigram's way. And at 24 minutes, let me know how you feel about the match so far. Comment down below. Who do you think is going to win at the current moment? And of course, if you've liked the video, hit that button down below. And if you haven't subbed to the channel and you've enjoyed the cast so far, or previous cast, and this is another cast you're watching and you haven't subbed yet, I would highly encourage you to do so. And of course, thank you to those who have already subbed, and for those who have newly subbed, because I just made the comment about subbing. But these T3 Demolishers really just packing a punch against this base here against Lord Tomato. Again, I keep wanting to say potato for some reason, but it's just Tomato kind of struggling here. He needs to keep his forces moving unless he just wants to lose them all to artillery, or at least push with the assistance of Hell. And Hell pushing with the Percy's, very good move here. Does lots of damage very early on, then has to reload, so at least the first shot does a heck of a lot of damage. We have comments in the chat from Mr. Shu talking about how Gen back please says oh, get a generator back, I guess what he is commenting about. But the Monkey Lord being built by the player of Trigram, he is Seraphim building Cybran units. It is of course the cheapest experimental, so that's probably why he's building it. But he needs to deal with this threat of artillery here to the north. We even have, oh, I knew how to say that at one point, Jomunganda? Yomolander? Yomunganda? I think it's either Nordish or it's German. I think it's Nordish. Norse. That's what I meant. I don't know. I feel like I know how to. I feel like I have said it one way, correctly at one point, but I do not remember how to say it. But a couple of Corsairs have lined up here in the back, and Team 1's Air Force kind of looking lax. Team 2's player of Mr. Shu has really built up a nice Air Force here against Team 1, and Team 1 really doesn't have anything to fight this against. The Corsairs are being dealt with T2 flak, but the invasion from the Riptides have come upon Ringo to the southwest, and they're starting to overrun this position. I am expansive, says these TMD here. And the Riptides targeting the T3 Pigeon, wanting to at least get lasting damage and cripple Team 2's player of Ringo's Eco. His comm has fled this position and is in the water down here to the south, and those Riptides are dealt with, but a devastating blow to Ringo. He still has, he's just really not has his power situation, needs to get it fixed, and needs to get his T3 back on. I feel like Team 1 really would have liked to grab this, and Monkey has also died here as well. It must have been from Team 1, and we missed it, of course, because it's dead, and I didn't notice it was dead till now. But the column of Trigam is pushing forward against those destroyers. A base has been built up by Mortagua to help assist in defense, but these Titans are going to start ripping through that shield, and it's staying online for now. The column of Trigam does have the regen ore on his chassis to help assist in regening those hit points on those tanks. I even think it's the advanced one, and it doesn't even look like they can do enough. Oh, they're doing some damage, but really repping up those hit points. 126 per second is a lot of hit points. Artillery starting to fire into this position against the player of Ivan's forward operating base from back here. Looks like Trigram's comm was the distraction while the artillery got up online and is targeting this position here. He would love to take out the Salems and probably go after this T2 naval facility. That's just, slowly building destroyers. It's not the end-all be-all strategy here for Hell here to the east, but at least he's assisting Ivan and Mortagua in his push southward. There is a Monkey Lord for Mortagua to the north. Trigram needs to get out of there. He does not want to be caught by that laser, but there is a friendly monkey on the way. And what he'll probably do is he'll probably link up with the Monkey Lord, sit behind it underneath shield coverage, and then regen it the best it can. 250 hit points a second with no veterancy is a heck of a lot of hit points. He needs these tanks to come back around and the Titans from his teammate to come and assist. And realistically, Team 1 is really struggling. The artillery is still in range, of course. And what I would do is I would probably target the destroyers first and then go after the PD next, just to take out the higher value targets. He's going after the land facilities, which isn't a bad idea, but it's not the best idea in my opinion. To the west, we have Percy's making landfall, beach and Normandy style, from the water. But there is a decent amount of defenses here along this beach line, and there's a heck of a lot of Percy's here for Team 1 as well. And those Percy's eradicated Ringo to the west. Just came in and just demolished everything. That push to the north has started to bear some fruit here for Trigram. He's using that monkey and those Othams for just being the tankiness and supporting them. He's literally the support role in this venture for him, and all those PD have been taken out. Cerberus turrets are essentially just tickling that Monkey Lord at this point. It does look like artillery has dealt a nice blow to units as well, but Ivan has retreated back into the water. I mean, I can't blame him. The Monkey Lord is out of position and is actually underwater. There is a new destroyer online here for Team 1, but unfortunately it's really not going to do a whole lot. The Monkey Lord is those shields covering? It is covering the entire Monkey Lord, but he is protected and is regenning constantly. Going after Mechs, of course. That engineer is going to die on that transport. Definitely unfortunate here for him. The artillery from the destroyers are targeting the comm, which the comm is slow enough to where those shots pretty much hit him every time. But with the 258 hit points a second, one shot or a couple of shots from Asylum is not going to kill him. And now with the torpedoes on that Monkey Lord, I think he's just going to go after the comm. Do they know he's there? They don't know he's there. But if I'm not mistaken, I think Trigram has... no, he has stealth. He does not have Omni on this thing. And looks like Trigram is under threat from those T2 Cerberus. Takes out almost 1.5 of them with one overcharge. The Othams need to come in with their attack power. Second overcharge takes out one of those PD. Second one is down. Third one is down. And to the west, things have quieted down, but we see another Monkey Lord for Team 1. So a lot of Monkey Lords this game. No chickens so far out of Trigram's forces, or at least land facility bases. And that monkey has made landfall. Ivan is actually chasing behind it. Takes out a couple of the shields behind the Monkey Lord. The monkey is targeting the monkey that was being built. Corsairs come in and kill the monkey off. I don't know if... was it finished? It almost looked like it was finished, but the monkey that was in the water finally comes out and assists. They're targeting that line of PD. The Monkey Lord does die. The Monkey Lord for Team 1 is still online. The massive ASF force still just being oppressive here for Team 2's player, Mr. Shu. More Corsairs come in and assist as well. Drive that Monkey Lord into the water. I love that ambush play here by that comp. Comes in, takes the shield out, and then the rest of the defenses can deal with that Monkey Lord by itself. A bunch of engineers are dropped off. That transport will die. But luckily the engineers are dropped off. Doesn't matter. The engineers are going to die anyways. Forget what I just said. And now to the west we see FAF Boy here for Hell to the western side of the map, going after these Percys and other engineers. We do see that Percy force that was under the water pushing against this oppressive firepower from these Percys from Team 2. And man, it is not really going to matter here. These Percys won't do a whole lot of damage. T2 Pigeon is gone. Looks like the SMD was taken out as well, and a T3 Pigeon. Actually T3 Mechs, two of them actually. And I mean, taking out a SMD is, obviously good. It's just opens up the door for nuking. It's not always the best. Okay, I shouldn't say that. I should say it's not always the priority. If you don't have any nukes, it doesn't really do anything. But in the case of this, Team 1's player of Kefka does have a nuke. Just finished loading it and is now going to launch it exactly almost on top of where that SMD was. And the combo Squealer needs to get out of there with his Fat Boy. It does have shield, does have T3, and does have RAS, so it's a very heavily invested commander. Here comes that nuke. I don't know if that SMD was loaded, but doesn't matter now because it's dead. There it goes. It is a Cybran nuke, so it's the third prettiest nuke here in the game. Would have killed the comm if the comm didn't move. And that is a nice nuke. I would have probably dropped it a little bit southward, go after this group of mechs here, but maybe it was trying to go after the comm directly, which if the comm doesn't move, great, you killed somebody, but if it does, then it's kind of a waste. Because you only took out 2 mechs when realistically you could have at least taken out 5 and a T3 Pigeon and maybe even a Quantum Gateway would have been a huge grab. But, you know, if Team 2 doesn't rebuild a SMD, you could just nuke it again. So there's always that. That nuke did kill off only 37,000 mass. Not a heck of a lot of mass, but still, you know, it's not chump change. It's not like 2,000. It's a decent chunk, but a couple of destroyers are not going to run up to the walking artillery of the Fat Boy, and that is not going to feel good. Those things are just going to feel the wrath of the Fat Boy. Team 2 has fought back with a vengeance with artillery, and have brought the Fat Boy. Team 1 now building a lot of AA, especially here from Ivan, just to try to knock out some of those air forces against Team 2. And that's the thing with air forces is you got to have, you know, either a clear vantage point to just very much use their the numbers advantage and keep them online for as long as possible. But ASFs from Team 1's player of Kefka gets in behind some Corsairs. The Strat Bombers are fine and takes out a couple of those Corsairs. Not a huge issue. The Strat Bombers are still online. What are they going after? ASFs from Team 1's player of Lord Tomato will come in and take out 2 of them, 3 of them. One of them jumped. They're going after T3 Pigeons. Oh, they're going after the Novaks. Okay, the Corsairs come in, but doesn't take out the Novaks. Of course, the Novaks does not get any adjacency bonus from a Pigeon. Just to let you know, it's not how that works. I've seen it multiple times now. I don't know if that used to be a thing or they took it out, but you can see the adjacency lines for the UEF, but they do not extend to the Novaks. And just more Corsairs coming in for Team 2 illustrates to Team 1 that they need to get their AA game up and running now, because Team 2's player of Mr. Shu is just going to use his air advantage to just demolish his opponent from the air. And the way to do that is to prevent that is to just deny air, which is just build a lot of either SAM sites or AA in general, or even mobile AA. You know, bouncers, Cougars, they're also very effective as well. They're mobile, they don't do as much damage, but the Fat Boy does die to the east. That is definitely probably a mismanagement of those units. And now we have a crab and 2 monkeys staring down the combo trigram, and that is not going to look good. There it goes. The long-range guns have activated. And we turn off all the things, and here come those monkey lords. They're coming into range. Run, my friend, run. The monkeys are chasing you. I feel like there's a joke in there somewhere, but I don't know it off the top of my head. Shields are coming in to assist the comm, but honestly, it's 2 monkey lords. It's a little too late here. The monkey lords are coming into range with their main lasers. There it is. Oh, there it is. The comm does turn around to fire as he's walking, but 2 lasers from the comm is not going to go well. And there he goes, the first kill on Team 2. It is the player of Trigram Ray, defeated by Mortagua. ASFs come over the top to protect the bombers to deal with those monkeys, but the damage is done. A comm has been destroyed. And now a nice artillery base for Team 2 is going to go up in smoke, as well as a couple of mexes. At this point, player of Mortagua has 2 options, just push deeper or retreat. And he's just going to push deeper and take out as much defenses as he can. Drop bombers actually coming in to assist as well. Team 1 does not have the available air to deal with this amount of firepower, but they're going to use what they can and take out what they can. The first monkey falls. The crab probably should just turn around at this point. He may maybe grab that mech and then turn around. It's going to take a while to walk anything vital, so that's not really going to matter. But that monkey just being eaten alive by those Zeus. There it goes. Crab should retreat, but it's going to keep pushing forward. Not really the best play here for that, because all those bombers are going to do is just turn around and go right after him. And there he goes. And it's not going to look good. We have T1, T2, and T3 bombers. Corsairs, Zeus, and I forget what the T3 ones are called. I'm trying to find one off the top of my head. Where are you? I saw one, and it disappeared. Where's the T3? Where's your Strat Bombers? I saw one. I don't remember what they're called. Anyway, when they pop up again, I will comment about it. But now we see a lot of T3 air, either mobile or stationary. And it's you can just see the firepower coming off of these AA guns, just really just wrecking into these bombers. There goes the crab. Should have turned around when it did. It did not, unfortunately, and it paid for its lack of vision. Team 1 using a crab in the water for its torpedoes and really just denying the torpedo launchers that Team 2 is trying to build. A large group of Perseus here to the west, but a large group of bricks that have, of course, the torpedoes on their chassis. Very versatile, those Cybern units. And it does look like a lot of bombers are going to the west. They'll probably target the Fat Boy on the front lines. Not really protected. 2 Fat Boys here down in the south. There's a couple of Ravagers being built up. Team 2 has not rebuilt that SMD, so this western side is very vulnerable to nuke fire. This position is fine, though. We see a Duke starting to be built up here for Team 2's player of T1 Hero. And that's about it. We have a satellite over the top, of course. We noticed that earlier. And there goes those bombers. The shield is down. ASF starting to be built back up. We even see some Janus from Team 2 as well. And yeah, I don't see any strap bombers in there, so I don't remember what the T3 strap bombers are called. That's going to bug me. It's one of those, like, what's that guy in that movie from? What's his name? That sort of thing. They are Revenants. That's right. And those Perseus do make an attempt to kind of just skirt the western side, but of course we have bricks and Ravagers online to really target most of these units. They're really not going to get anywhere. Maybe they'll get a T3 mix, maybe. But T2 already just starting to push that combat more and more. Actually, it's actually Fat Boy fires probably as well. And Team 2 has lost another Fat Boy, scooped up that mass real quick. But more shields, says Blazer of Flashlight. I would agree. Wait, did they have T2, oh sorry, T3 artillery online? Oh yeah, it's right here, next to Mr. Shu. So they do have a Disruptor online, a second one halfway done. That Duke has been started, is about to tip over into the yellow. I don't know why they targeted Lord Tomato. He had a small air grid, but not really a whole lot to go after. I understand this position is heavily shielded. And this position here for Hell has essentially been just, you know, a T3 land facility, but that's it. This is his main base to the west. And I don't see... I mean, this position is unshielded, kind of, sort of. But not really just a heck of a lot of AA defenses. Look at all the AA defenses here for Team 1. Just, they are everywhere here. Team 2 starting to make a comeback on this eastern side. But it is not much of a threat as the threat to the west with all of these units, whether they be dark gray or red, or it's crimson. Dark red and dark gray, just going to start pushing southward. We have engineers, we have Perseus, we have a crab that's decently damaged. We have a Fat Boy. Its shield is almost back online. Let's see, let's watch it. And there it goes. We have Perseus, we have artillery, we have a whole bunch of units and different varieties of units here for Team 1 on this northwestern side of the map here, or at least this western side of the map. Take this out. I can hit this base, says Kefka. I don't. Oh, SMD, I have nuke to launch. Take it out. Okay. So it's probably talking about this base right here. We do see, of course, the second artillery is now about to tip into the yellow. And Team 2 really spamming up those those SMD missiles, anti-nukes. They want to protect their investment of their artillery. I don't blame them there. And now Mr. Shu has dual bases. Team 1 at 1 point, actually at 2K mass per second versus 1.8 at 40 minutes and 30 seconds. Team 1 starting to really take the lead here in this game. You can just see, just based on map control, really what they have to work with. We have Team 2's player Ringo actually getting back into the game here. Hasn't quit yet, only 350 mass per second, but trying to do his best. Stay in it, love to see that. But those forces have taken out the crab, but they are still pushing southward. Bricks going after Perseus. And we even see some Rambo preset commanders with a column of Squealer helping to augment that front line. Rambo comms are almost OP in my opinion. Almost. Of course, a high number of units, and nukes will always kill them. So they're not invulnerable. They're just very annoying to deal with. You can see they have lots and lots of damage on them. Perseus... I think Perseus are a good counter to Rambos, but you really just need a high number of them. But the Zeus are actually targeting the Perseus for the Rambos to take out, and then once that is done, They'll target the Fat Boy. The Fat Boy will be gone. The Fat Boy with Team 2 will retreat to help protect its life. And Team 1 has really lost a lot of its momentum here on this western side. Lots of mass for our players to scoop up. It will be kind of in no man's land, but it's realistically going to sit on Team 2 side of things. But one Rambo Com does go down. A Rascom trying to scoop up as much as he can. He scooped up almost half of it. We have, of course, the Percy's trying to do their best to kill off these Rambo Coms, but that Rascom does die out. These two Rambo Coms hurting quite severely. This one only at 1,700 hit points left. And now we have 2 artillery firing here from Mr. Shu, and a third one has come online here for the Snow White player of T1. That's game. Please change the noise of Rambocom or just SACUs dying, because sometimes I'm like, oh, I know that's a Rambocom or a Rascom or whatever. It's fine. Don't have to worry about it. Sometimes I'm like, was that a com? Did I miss it? Was that a com? I was like, no, it's not. Okay. But we have this base here for Ivan, really just island stronghold, really geared to defeat either air units or just units coming in through the water. Of course, we have the Megalith helping to protect the ground side of things. Team 2 could use this to their advantage and just push with a lot of land units, but they're not doing that so far. They're really focused on this western side. We have essentially have 3 comms focusing this western side, 2 comms, mostly 1 focusing this eastern side. And now that crab's going to push forward against the crab. Not really going to go either way. We'll probably go Team 2's way in that regard. But this essentially is now the new no man's land. The western side has been plagued with a bunch of attacks. Percy's versus Percy's, brother versus brother here on the western side. But lots of PD creep, I feel like, on both sides, starting to kind of meet in the middle. A second nuke has been launched here for Team 1's player of Kefka. I think this one's going here. And is it in range of an SMD? It is not. Inquisitor did not build an SMD. He's building one now. Oh, it looks like it might have been destroyed. That's gotta hurt. So Team 2 is gonna lose at least a nice grouping of PD and defenses. Not defenses, PD and power. There goes the nuke. Takes out all of that section of that base. That has got to hurt. We have missiles raining in from this position, and I think they're being blocked. Oh, there's some Team D. They're going after the comm of Inquisitor. Yep, there was. That's what killed the SMD, was the missiles. And I think a second nuke is launched. Inquisitor, I think, is the target with that nuke. Yes, he is, because he wouldn't be going all the way down here because that SMD is still online. So that is going to hurt. There it goes. The comm of Inquisitor is not going to move. Yep, this is the end for you, my friend. The SMD was just built. And there he goes. Kaboom! Dies off in nuclear, hellfire. And Inquisitor's killed by Kefka. Gets the kill confirmed for that. And is now a 5v4 in favor of Team 1 for the first time this game. And the game was paused and then resumed. SMD can't nuke yet, says Kefka. Yep. Commenting about this position, but the comm of Squealer gets shot by Mortagua, and he tries to telesnipe Squealer. That does not work out for him, and just due to the defenses online, doesn't really get anywhere, unfortunately. There are now three disruptors with obviously a 4th artillery to the west here for Team 2 online. And I feel like if he gets essentially maybe 2 more, it really won't matter for Team 1. Unless they build their own, which they have. But the Duke is really under some fire. That's where all of the artillery is targeting. So essentially Team 1 is tying up 3 artillery pieces at least with 1 of their own, which is a huge, trade. And Team 1 hero Control K's. Where'd he go? He's over here. Very much a delayed Control K. There he goes. I don't know if it was internet or whatever the case may be, but he bows out. It is now a 4v3 in favor of Team 1. Squealer survived just due to the not the TMD, but the PD online protecting him. And he was under dual lapping shields, so that also helps. But he's building up some more secondary SMDs to protect his position and the artillery. A lot of investment. A lot of this game resides on Team 2's player, Mr. Shu, staying online. Not even staying alive, just his artillery staying online. And they still haven't been able to puncture this position. There's a lot of shielding. Love to see it. They're also being assisted as well. Love to see that as well. But now they're kind of focusing on Lord Tomato's position. He's struggling. Siren shields are not as good as UEF shields. And so they, don't last as long, or they're just not as good in general. And this is oppressive firepower. The shields are blinking on and off, but they're not going to hold for very much longer. I would... Oh, okay. Team 2's player of Team 1 Hero does end up... obviously it goes to Mr. Shu's hand. So now he has control of 4 artillery pieces by himself with now a Novax, and he's building more as we speak. More shielding around that. Love to see that. And now the comm of Lord Tomato is under threat quite severely. He's building shields to protect himself, but under 4 artillery fires, it's not really going to go very well. We even have some engineers that are dying trying to get to Lord Tomato. Some of them do make it, but some of them don't. Shielding is failing. The 1 artillery for Team 1 is not enough to crack the shields on this position, even with the assistance of those satellites. We are seeing, I think that's the Duke firing at that position. Yeah, I think that's the Duke firing at that position. It's just hard to tell because there's so many, yellow dots crossing the map here. Team 2 has actually stopped pushing, at least actively. They're kind of passively pushing with the Fat Boy and the Percy's lining up, but not really actively sending units in. It does look like Team 1 is pushing this eastern side, though. They realize that there's a huge weakness to Team 2's defenses, and it's over here. They have a couple of crabs, but there isn't any SMD. No, there's no SMD over here, so Team 1's play of Kefka could just nuke this position. It's almost loaded, and I feel like that would be worth it. He would know there's no SMD because of the vision from the defense satellite. I feel like if he nukes this, at least he maybe clips a lot of these forces, or just takes out everything in general, like maybe putting it right here. Those megalists are essentially dead, and that is a lot. That is a lot of mobile AA. There we go. 62 bouncers. Not bangers, bouncers. And a bunch, of course. Oh, those are loyalists. Those are bricks. 31 bricks. That's a decent amount of bricks. All of those Team 1 bombers are essentially going to be a moo point. Prime example of why shields should not be assisted with B equals cannot penetrate, says Kefka. And yeah, he's right. I mean, I get it. But they've stopped. What's going on? They've stopped firing. What? Has something happened? What's going on? They're not firing. This one is oh, there they go. He's just he's trying to sync them up, I think. Yeah, that's what he was trying to do. I was like, why aren't they firing? They should be firing. But there they go. They'll lift it off into the suborbital, not the suborbital, the high atmosphere. And look at this. The Team 1 bombers cannot get close enough just to the oppressive fire from these bouncers. And we have one called Destiny. I feel like that's a name I see a lot is Destiny. Maybe it's like just a couple of standard names in the naming mod. It's like a temp file, not a temporary file, but just a example file with a couple of different names. Maybe I don't know. I don't use the naming mod, so I don't know. It would confuse me more than it would do me good. I feel like it's kind of funny to name a couple of your units different names, but it just would confuse me. But Kefka's defeated by Squealer. It looks like he tried to telesnipe as well. Took out the shields, though. Taking out the emitters is always a good idea for the satellites. But the oppressive nature of this eastern approach, Team 2 needs to divert a lot more of these resources to defense. We do have some Titans and Crabs turning around to fire. And there's a lot of bouncers in here that are charging. Not the best idea for these units. But if I remember correctly, the bouncers can actually target ground units once they take out anything nearby. It's kind of like the T2 cruisers, the Siren class. But this push is going to die out very quickly just due to the fact that most of the attack power is in AA, not ground firing. So that's not really going to work here for Team 1. But they're just securing more and more of this eastern section. Should go after the Mechs, but we are at 50 minutes. Subcom Brame is the thing. Team 1 made landfall and is actually building Cerberus and some of these Percys walking around this position against Ringo. And it's just, the artillery fire is immense. This position here for Team 1's play of Kefka has been taken out. At least most of it has, at least the air grid. There is a satellite, of course, going after that nuke. The nuke does have a missile loaded, 172,000 mass killed from that one nuke. Launcher, not the nuke itself, just the launcher in general. But this position is going to be a tough nut to crack with multiple SMD, multiple shields. Of course, Seraphim added in there as well to help boost the effectiveness. We have Cybran. Would like to see UEF instead of Cybran, but he does have Seraphim, so he gets a pass for that. He is, of course, a 2100, so who am I to judge what a 2100 does? But, you know, I can always make suggestions and ways to improve, even if it's from, you know, someone like me who isn't as skilled as, you know, a 2100, for example. But a crab versus a crab with bomber support. Does look like the crab for Team 1 is failing in that regard. You can see the missiles just divert to the spy plane. That was funny. Just go, woo! Just be fired off in one direction and then zoom the other direction. But it does look like Percys are moving north to help secure this giant reclaim field to the east. Trying to zoom in just for this eastern side, 146,000. So essentially, at least 2/3, if not 75% of the mass on the map is located just in this eastern section. And it's in Team 2's control, essentially for the most part. But Team 1 is, again, slowly just moving southward, taking out a lot of air forces with their just lines and lines of AA, and of course there is a megalith here to assist. This position has now fallen for Team 2. They've lost the island for a second time, and that must just sting here for Ringo. He lost that early on, came back, built up again, and then lost it a second time. It just hurts. It makes you want to quit. But this artillery position still has two shields, but one of them being primaried, and the artillery, you know, really is, it's almost breaking through. We do see more shields being built up for defense as well. The Novax is still online as well. I think he lost the other one. Yeah, he had two. I think he lost the other one. But really, I think what's happening with Mr. Shu is he's not focusing on one thing. He notices, oh, I can't hit this because they're assisting the shield, so I can't puncture that. Then I'll move to this. Then Lord Tomato will essentially do the same thing after I target him. And then up here, what will happen is he'll go after this air grid, but not really fully kill it off. And then just kind of let it be. And really, Team 1 with Hell really in the driver's seat here for his team, has a lot under his purview. 1.6 thousand mass per second versus 1.1s for Mr. Shu. Team 1, 1,000 mass more a second, and only 250,000 mass between the two players. At 53 minutes, it's actually not a lot of mass considering we are in the range of 4 million mass, though. So just in general, 8,500 mass, 8.5 million mass, excuse me. And a fourth and fifth disruptor are coming online here for Team 2. Mr. Shu has lost the Duke here to the west and is actually building more of the satellites. He lost the satellite as well. But he's going to go mass T3 artillery. He should have just gone Scathis at this point. At 53 minutes, he should have just built that. But Team 1 has done that. Literally, as I say something, looks like they built it underwater. And that is the move here for Team 1. Just building a scout that's underwater, walking it, or essentially just crawling it onto land, and then building a bunch of shields for defense. They are using UEF. They are the better shields in this scenario for them, of course. And now the oppressive nature of the artillery is starting to make its point across the map. You can see shields starting to fall everywhere. And emitter is starting to go down as well. Another volley will come in. That fourth artillery is online. That fifth one is online as well. 5 artillery online for Team 2. He's assisting that shield as hard as he can. That's the linchpin shield here. It's covering essentially all of the artillery except for the outer one. And there goes the shields once again. They're flicking on and off. We have the satellite overhead to start targeting those emitters as well once they come offline. Now the base for Team 1's play of Ivan's under threat. He's building a crab in his base, but really he's just distracting Team 2's artillery. There goes another volley comes in. What damage does this wreck onto his position? Shields are starting to fail, of course. They flicker back on and off. Take out the pigeons. They'll do volatile explosions in cascade. Does look like there is a nuke launcher online for him as well, building some pigeons to assist in building those missiles even faster. But Team 2 is being invaded, and Ringo's going to go down to, almost goes down to torpedoes from bricks. Ringo is sub 2,000 hit points, actually sub 1,500. These bricks need to move now if he wants the kill on Ringo. He really doesn't have anything, to be fair. 27 mass a second, pretty much just from his commander. And that's really about it. Trying to build a quantum gateway to bring in some SACUs for mass. But slowly but surely this positioning is falling. That's a nice grouping of artillery. Takes out a section of the air grid and power grid as well. Mr. Shu, how are you doing on power? 10,000 up, but that is slowly going to fall here. He needs... I don't say he needs more pigeons, but he probably needs at least a couple more. And you can see the lasers trying to assist with taking out shields. And there goes another section of the air grid up in smoke. Pigeons still online, though. And it's slowly just the end of the world. Ringo is... There he goes. I was going to say he's sub 500 hit points, and then he goes. This artillery has just been the bane of Mr. Shu's existence. One shield and a dream, essentially, here.
Strategic launch detected.
There is a nuke launched, probably by Team 1, but I'll take a look at who actually launched it here in a second. One shield and a dream. There it goes. It is from Team 1's position, of which was once Kefka, but it's he's gone now. And it's going for this nuke position, and they've retasked the Scathus onto this position. Doesn't really feel the need due to the nuke coming in, but, you know, to each their own. They have a satellite online now. The shields are heavily being assisted by engineers. Multiple of them, they're just constantly assisting one of them that's down, trying to keep that Scathus online. There it goes. Kaboom! Takes out the nuke that was built by Mr. Shu. Probably should have built it in this base to be better protected, but, you know, hindsight and all of that. But it's still holding on slowly. All of the artillery still online. It's not looking good here for Team 2, though. They're slowly losing a lot of their influence. They are pushing Team 1 back. Oh, that was Rascom's. Killed by bricks. That has got to hurt. Not Rascoms, they were Rambo comms, but, you know, still killed out by bricks. That's got to hurt, especially with being torpedoes. There's a monkey protecting the Scathus. Team 2 only has one Cybern player left, and that is Mr. Shu. He could teleport and kill the Scathus, but probably shouldn't risk it. Is building a sixth, 6th disruptor, and it still has not been able to kill this Duke. That has got to hurt. There goes the artillery once again. The pigeon is mostly covered, and so it's not been dealt damage by the artillery. The shield is staying strong. The secondary ones have fallen. It's just that one covering the Novax and the artillery quite nicely, and the pigeon as well. So he's done a very good job of avoiding any volatile explosions. But a lot of the shielding we have seen has collapsed. Team 2's play of Mr. Shu needs to build more shielding, just in general. Like, I get it's hard to micro all of that, but you need to build more emitters to just protect anything you got. Because if you lose your energy production, that's it. You only got 1,000 positive, so you okay, now it's up to 16,000. But really need to protect that, because if that goes down, there goes your energy for your shields, and there goes everything underneath them. Scathus is retasked to go after whatever Squealer has left. He has a Fat Boy. Team 2 was never really able to puncture this position here against Team 1. Once they had it, and they just kind of died to it. Team 2, you know, obviously held their position as well, but neither team could make progress, and so both of them went to artillery. That shield almost fell, almost lost its energy reserves, but it stayed online just barely, and another volley coming off from the Scathus. Lasers focusing the SMDs for Team 2. There's still two of them underneath heavy shield coverage. from Mr.
Strategic
Shu.
launch detected.
But a nuke will start to edge out everything against Mr. Shu. And that fat boy is going to run into that nuke, as that is not going to feel good. And the shields have fallen around the SMD. The emitters are the ones targeted, and that is a great grab by the Novaxes here for Team 1. This SMD is not protected anymore. That nuke is coming in nice and fast. And all of the reigning commanders for Team 1, except for the player of Lord Tomato, is underwater. I don't count him because he's popping out just quickly. But there goes the fat boy. He trundled to his death. And that is a nice grab by Team 1's player of Hell. And the mass is still favoring Team 1, of course. Just now we have a second Scathus online for Team 1 from the eastern side. And this just might seal the deal here for Team 2's player of Mr. Shu. He loses some of his hives here. He still has his Seraphim shields online. Just goes to show you the nature of those Seraphim shields. But not even Seraphim shields will be able to withstand maybe the magnitude of at least 2 Scathus and some Strat Bombers coming in to assist as well. Oh, will they get their bombs off? Artillery, there goes a couple of bombs. They do take out all these Seraphim shields. They have to recharge. They're regenning their hit points, but not the shield. Once the shield goes down, you can't just force regen it to have the shield come back online. Another massive amount of... Was that a nuke? No, that was just Rascal. Oh, no, that was a nuke. A second nuke does land, and there it goes. The shields are down. A lot of the artillery has been taken out. Pigeons go down. Mr. Shu is in the thick of it. And that looks like it's game. You don't need master assist shields. It's a bug. You don't know, and he's abusing it. What, says Trigam. And there goes Mr. Shu. Control Ks, knowing the game is over. And then Squealer follows suit right after that, knowing the game is over. And Team 1 wins the game with 2 Scathus on a line. And that is a lot of firepower. And this Duke is still alive. 1 shield and a dream. That is crazy. Look at that. Just 1 shield and a dream. I'll do it from this position so you can get the idea of just 1 shield and a dream. I'm going to get the other. There we go. That's better. There we go. 1 shield and a dream. I keep saying that phrase, but that's going to be the thumbnail. It's just the fact that it's still 1 shield online is just very amazing to me. And in terms of MVP, underrated player of the game, I think it has to go to Demacic. I mean, he inherited... Oh, let's see. Who inherited the base from... I think he inherited the base, used his UEF technology to the fullest extent, and just constantly annoying Ringo and the western side of Team 2's main base. He, of course, built a Scathus and then a second Scathus, because why not? And a third one, because why not? Captain Sneak is named that Scathus. Should have named it for that one, but nah. That is the benefit of Scathus, is you can build them on the water and then walk them somewhere else, or you can build them on land and then walk them somewhere else. So that is the advantage of Scathus. Of course, they can't fire while they're walking, but the mobility is obviously a nice touch. And really, I think what Team 2... I mean, a lot of Mr. Shu's attention was diverted to this particular Duke. Couldn't kill it. Went on to other targets, and then came back to the same Duke. And really didn't go after any of the other bases. Started to go after Ivan, but stopped. I mean, oh, look at all the shields here. Jeez. Probably pathing for the Scathus to move. It was under fire. But this base could have been easily taken out by Shu. This rest of this air grid could have been taken out. The Liberator SML, the nuke could have been taken out. Like, a lot of structures could have been taken out had he just stayed the course and taking out all of the everything else. I feel like if he knew, like he pretty much knew that he wasn't going to get this. He almost did at the very end, but it took him a while to get to that. He had to build 2 more just to crack it. So he could have taken out a lot of Team 1's infrastructure and then gone back to this, because he had 12,000. So let's say maybe he had 20,000 before he built the 2 Scathus and other shielding. So no, let's say 15. Let's say. So he could have taken out, a lot of these Pigeons and he would have had it, but decided to focus on other things, which, subcom brain, hindsight, full vision, all of that. I have to take that into consideration. But if you enjoyed the cast and my little ramblings at the end of the video, please like it down below. Please comment down below what your favorite moment of said video was. And of course, if you haven't hit that sub button, I greatly appreciate it. And again, thank you so much for watching to the end of the video, and I will see all of you in the next one.